Well, I want to welcome all of us here. Naturally, it is good for us at times to sit together and take a look and review our environment. Every day, new things happen, new stories are told, events unfold, and because we form part of that environment, because we form part of that society, we want to hear others, and we also want others to hear us. I know that many people have things to say when events unfold. Many also want to listen to other people's views. It is by that kind of interaction, that will resolve our problems, conflicts are resolved. Dialogue may be initiated from such discussions. Because all of us, especially you in the press, you hear more, you see more. I thought it would be a good initiative on our part to invite you to the discussion. I believe that's why we're here.
Your Excellency, I've heard that you are from the Western District of Enugu, and it happens that much is happening in your senatorial zone as at now. Being a person who had experienced much in administration, how do you come up to salvage the situation in your senatorial zone now?
Let me thank you very sincerely for that honest question. You first of all recognized that we have had some little experience in matters of administration, in matters of government, in matters of articulating the welfare of a people, in matters of articulating justice, equity, fair play. I think that the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, which is the extant law governing our very existence and cooperation in this country. Some people ascribe that constitution, describe it as a military-made constitution. But with all the faults, all the defects attributed to it, that document laid so much emphasis on fairness, on equity, on orderliness, and in peace. Perhaps, out of our own selfish interests, we are not able to tap from the good parts of the Constitution. when we want to share. That piece of document emphasizes sharing formula. It emphasizes zoning as a principle of attaining justice. But sometimes we get either carried away by our selfish desires, and we ignore the principle of zoning. You know, there is politics of hypocrisy. There is also hypocrisy of politics. And when you merge the two, you will see it characterized in some of our players. And that is the kind of thing that brings about the kind of crisis we have. If we remove greed, if we remove selfish personal interests, we won't be having the problem we're having. You know, I have seen a little bit of Machiavelli. That is the Bible. For the European regimes. And it applies in Europe as it applies everywhere else in the world. Everyday events, especially in governance, can find a place in Machiavelli. And he has said in some portion that every crisis commences like hectic fever. When it starts, it is very easy, very difficult to identify, but easy to cure. But because we don't treat it at that early period, it grows to such an extent, becomes a monster. It becomes easy for us to see, also more difficult to cure. As it is in the affairs of hectic fever, so it applies in our everyday life. Little things that could be treated when they are minor are left to mature to the point that everybody can see it. It becomes difficult, near impossible to treat. Look at every single problem we have had in this country. It started with that kind of arrangement. Slowly and slowly, at a point where it is easy to pick and cure, it's left to mature to the point where it can no longer be held or controlled. That is where we are tending to in Enugu West. You see, the problem I have, and the problem many people have, is that here we have it as our battlefield in Enugu West. The headquarters of the battle, the two battles, is in Ogun, where I come from. But in articulating solutions, we don't have the means of going to Abuja to meet the people we should be complaining to, who should help us solve the problem. When people are invited to speak their mind on it in the course of finding solution. I don't see one Ogugua. What we see is a situation where you pick some prominent man in Enugu East, some other prominent man in Enugu North. All the prominence. Ogu doesn't have any prominent man or woman. But they are the people who are trying to solve their problem. Solution can only come out of a genuine input from the people who are concerned. Look at the people, the kind of people we have sent to Abuja to help articulate the problem of issues pertaining to Enugu West, touching and concerning Ogu and Greater Ogu. Do we wait until these people who are concerned, who are suffering, the truth of the matter concerning them is not known to the authorities in Abuja because they are not represented? Show me, mention the person for me who has participated. I don't want name, no. But let me be sure that I'm thoroughly, properly represented at venues or arena or places where such problems are resolved. Because we should have an input. It is not a question of saying, oh, I cede Enugu or Aniri on Ojiriba to somebody. How do you know the heartbeat of the people? We are not chatters. We're not property. This is my worry. I have no other means of letting the presidency know that yes, he is doing well. We want him to continue as president, yes. But we also would want to let him know the truth of the matter on ground, here, as it concerns us. If any other Nigerian puts himself in the position of an Ogugua, a Greater Ogugua, Enugu West man, who will see that it is not possible to get fairness when you take prominent men from Nkano or prominent men from Suka area to go and articulate and solve problems they don't know anything about.
His Excellency, sir.
Sorry, just a follow-up.
Okay.
Sorry. You've really given us a rundown of the situation in your area. You know, in the specifics, we want to really know what you are demanding. But before then, I also want to draw your attention to the fact that somebody from Ogu, Greater Ogu, was the Deputy Senate President for a record 2 terms, the first in the history of Nigeria. Somebody from Ogu. And that position is about number 5 in the nation's protocol. Now, I don't know how you match that with your position that Greater Ogu is not really having any prominence in the nation's body politic.
Thank you for the question also, Isigudon. You see, when you, if you are a lawyer and you have a case to handle yourself, you have a case with somebody, you are usually not advised to go to court and plead your case, unless there is no other person who can do it as well as you can. If you are involved in a matter, it is naturally very difficult for you to present the other side of the story. Because you have been in the Senate, first term, second term, third term, and you are heading for a fourth term, fighting fortibly for a fourth term. Then you will realize that it is not possible for you to plead the case of your people, because not everybody will see it the way you want to see it. I don't know whether I'm getting across. You may be rightly representing your people, but when you are caught in that kind of web, not only do we demand that you do justice, we also want it to be seen that justice is done. Not only do you want to do justice, we want it to be seen that justice is being done. Because you are involved, it is difficult, almost impossible, for us to see you as representing the issues of your people as objectively as it ought to be. Let me just caution this. If it is you occupying the position of a senator, even for one term, I want you to recognize that no other person from your zone can be a senator. If you are doing that for 2 terms, or for 8 years, I want you to recognize that no other person from your zone can be a senator for that period. If you are doing it for a third term, that is of 12 years, I want you to recognize that no other person from that zone can aspire to be a senator. And if you are looking for a fourth term of 16 years, I want you to recognize that no other person from that zone can aspire to be a senator for 16 years. Let me stretch it further to tell you that if you are coming from, what's the local government?
From Abia.
Yes, yeah, what's the local government? Umuahia North. No other person from Umuahia North can be a senator for more than 60 years. If everybody will go there and spend 16 years. You can see a whole generation of aspiring politicians, the youths we are building for. If after 2 terms you cannot produce a successor, something is wrong, either with the system or with you. We should not encourage things like that. It does not augur well for sharing. In our zone, we have had that Enugu West. We have had a situation where from there are 2 blocks. One is Udieziago. The other is Aniri Ogun, Oji River. We have managed to oscillate that office between the 2 blocks peacefully. Hyde Onagwichi was in the Senate. He did 2 years. 2 years. He did not die after 2 years. He has continued to live his normal life. At the end of that, the pendulum swung to the Ezago axis. You had Colin Sando. He didn't even do up to 2 years. Collins is living his normal life. He goes anywhere he likes to go. He's recognized anywhere he goes. And I think that's the way it should be. If any of these two clung to it and stayed on for 16 years, nobody would be talking about Deputy Senate President today. Now, it had come to Ogu-axis, Greater Ogu-axis. And one would expect that naturally, after having done first term, second term, third term, all this period, no other people can produce unless you step aside. This is the reason. It isn't anything personal at all. My position is very far from personal. But if the facts are not told, people will not understand. You know, sometimes there is the argument, oh, in America, a senator can stay there for life. I say yes. Are we in America? The way we conduct our affairs in Africa, in Nigeria, is that the same way they conduct their affairs in America? Do you have a situation where you are the senator? You bring your younger brother to the local government chairman of your place. Is that America? Is that what Americans do? At the same time, you are arguing that the party chairman, who is your in-law in your village, should also be the state party chairman to supervise or superintend on the election you are participating in. I don't know if the people in Abuja will know this much. Come, for God's sake. The last but one local government party chairman of the state, i.e., Chief Onya Wanjo, he comes from Aniri, right? For purposes of sharing and rotation, when he completed his tenure, he handed over to somebody from Enugu North, Vitala. I'm yet perplexed that why he did that. The deputy to Vita Abba also would come from Aniri. How? Do you not see that there's something wrong? These are not facts that Abuja people are presented with. So it will be difficult for them. With all due respect, a judge only can decide a case based on the facts before him. And if these matters are taken to Abuja and the people in Abuja are not presented with the facts, the decision they take will affect us adversely, where we live, where we are coming from, our domain. Because of the position we hold, or we had held, people rely on us. Are you there? And things like this are happening. What shall we do? What shall we not do? Because there's so much lie, there's so much intimidation, there's so much downtroddenness. I don't know. I don't know whether you are getting me from where I'm coming from. But how many Nigerians will know this? We are not in America. We can never behave like Americans. You don't take it and leave it. You want to be in America, but you don't want to behave like Americans. You want to take the benefit of their system, but you don't want to behave like them. On one hand, you will come out and say, okay, there was no time we sat down and agreed on zoning. There is no time we agreed on a formula of sharing. Who told you that? When a lawmaker says that, I'm shocked. Beyond speech. How can somebody who claims to be an administrator, a lawyer for that matter, say that there is no zoning arrangement for anything in Nigeria? Come. No office in Nigeria remains unzoned. We are about 170 million people in Nigeria. To the 170 million people, is zoned one president. There can be two. That is zoning. There are 36 states in this federation. To every state is zoned one governor. And you say there is no zoning. And in each state is broken into local governments. There are zones. In each state, there are 3 senatorial zones. And then you stay there. As a senator, you say there's no zoning. Who are you representing? Did you do any exam to be there? Can you go from there to be to be senator of the North? What is zoning? Ordinary dictionary meaning of zoning. What is the meaning? Why do you say there's no zoning? It's only when some selfish 3 or 4 individuals sit together and share offices. Then you say, what gives you authority above others to determine the fate of others? When it fits you, you say there's no zoning. When it doesn't suit you, you say there's zoning. Why are we clamoring? How can an Igbo man become a president if it is not zoned? Can you just tell me that? The same person can get up tomorrow and say he wants to be president or vice president because his zone has never produced. What is the zone? That is what I describe as hypocrisy of politics, and politics of hypocrisy. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Just very quickly, you've spoken quite extensively.
Thank you.
I want you to clear something out. When you were talking, you talked about the Constitution, 1999 Constitution, approving this zoning formula, and then you also made reference to a lot of other offices that has been zoned to the different parts of Enugu State. Now, the question is, are we, in other words, saying that that part of the Constitution was not clear, on how this zoning formula works? Because we understand that this same Constitution tells us that a sitting senator or some of these other offices can go for as many terms as he is able to win.
I have just said that the Constitution also allows for fair sharing. If a portion of the Constitution is creating unfairness, that law is made by human beings for human beings. It is inherent. You don't have to wait until the Constitution specifically defines every event. It gives you, is it not the same Constitution that even for that talks about federal character? When we talk about federal character, some people just believe that it is between North and the South. Federal character transcends to your family. There is sharing in your family. There is sharing in your local government. Which local government does not say, it has never been my turn. It is my turn now. Because A, B, C has had. The whole thing is talking about equity, justice. What justifies one person doing forever? Because the Constitution does not say, give to A and B after 2 years. Is it not a function of your inherent character in fairness or unfairness? I don't know how far I can go, but I think I'm addressing your issue. I hope. Thank you.
Okay. Sorry, another follow-up on my earlier question. From what you've said, obviously, you think the senatorial position in the Enugu West should be equally moved to UDSR, obviously.
Clearly.
It should move to UDSR at this point, in the spirit of
fair, yes.
equitable distribution of political
Offices.
I don't know if you are equally concerned consider the fact that by the time that position of senator moves from Mbu now, where it's not just being senator, it's also deputy senator.
Yeah.
And a first-time senator from Udi, Ezago, emerges. That position of DSP is likely to move away completely from the state, and maybe go to somewhere else. You have a ranking senator. Have you considered losing such a big, prominent position to another state?
Yeah, thank you. Let me remind you of the saying that the graveyard is filled up with people who believe that they're indispensable. If that consideration goes the other way, outside what I'm pursuing, it means that at no point should we try a new person. We will continue with the old hands. Because, you know, we have experience in this country the 10 million man march. We have yearned for a president to continue forever. Where are we today? How are you sure that there are no hidden talents in an area? How are you sure that there are no hidden talents at Umbo? Whom are not? How do you discover those talents? Certainly not by sitting tight and refusing to move. How would your children grow? You are raising your children that should take over from you. If nobody takes over from you after you have led your family, then you have not succeeded. It doesn't matter the amount of wealth, primitive acquisition you have had.
Okay, haven't addressed this, to this point. What, in your own view and opinion, do you think could be the solution, to have a lasting peace in these particular senatorials and Enugu State?
In one sentence or two.
Thank you. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Lasting solution is that rotation should be allowed to flow. Equity, justice should flow. People who have tried their hands at offices should allow others to go out and try. There is no end to development. You build on what other people have done. I believe that it doesn't matter what office anybody is holding, any other person can build on it and build better. It is our refusal to allow that space that will start creating ripples, uncertainties, unstableness. Come. Nigeria is fighting insurgency today. I pray fervently that God intercedes and resolves that problem. But they started like little things. Let happiness flow from one territory to the other. Don't hoard it. Don't think that you are the best, because you are certainly not the best. Nobody will be the best. Allow these things to flow. You have no reason, like I said, for sending your children to study, to go to school, if you're not prepared to leave your seat for them.
Excellency.
Thank you.
Sorry, just very briefly. We need to get this a lot clearer. When you started, you obviously expressed worries over pitiable, quote unquote,
That is correct. Remove the quote.
Okay, thank you. It was a beautiful state of the Ogugua.
Yes.
Now, at the same time, you are saying that the only prominent position existing in Ogugua, Greater, should be allowed to go. So, I don't know how you...
I have answered that question.
Yes.
You are suggesting that one man cannot die. And that if he dies, we are all done for. If that's what you mean, there must be something wrong with somebody's succession plan. After you have done 8 years first term, 4 years first term, 8 years, then 12. If there is no Ogugua man prepared to play a prominent role, it doesn't have to be deputy Senate president. We have had in this country Senate presidents. There are many from this part of the world.
Yes.
We're talking about deputy now. What is a deputy to a Senate president? I don't know whether I should go ahead and flog the question or flog the answer.
Thank you.
Right.
Your Excellency.
Thank you.
You have spoken to the press.
Yes. At length.
And this is one veritable avenue through which your people can be heard. Apart from this, do you have any other representations you are making? Even when you said that Ogugua, the greater Ogugua, the West man, they don't have a voice. But Baldwin, I recognize you as a foremost voice. Do you have any other representations you are going to make at that Abuja level for what you have said here today to be quite effective? Thank you, sir.
Well, if Mr. President widens the invitation to include other people who come from Enugu West, or in particular, for our voices to be heard, we will speak for the voiceless. We will give hope to the hopeless. Because many people don't like being muzzled to the point where their voices are not heard. And that is what is going on. I know that everything I'm saying about this person wants to be this is what I hear from others. Nobody will come to my house and tell that kind of nonsense. Take it out, sorry. Let us not get more and more excited or emotional. Remove that, my last point. Nobody's talking nonsense.
Yeah. Gentlemen and members, I think we have been able to do justice to this gathering.
If for some of you who know me a bit, everything I have said here today is that vessel of personal interest. So whether I have ambition to run or I don't have anything to run, it has nothing to do with this position I'm holding. I would not like to buy myself by saying I would not or I would. But this is my natural, honest answer to it.
When it must have left, you could have said, if I had, remember, would that be in it if I had?
The world is not coming to an end.